24-hour reset with Moses, part 3. Now, I would recommend you assign leadership to a specific person in your family, network, or unit responsible for updating knowledge of each member. This person needs to be a leader that you, if it's not yourself, and pick your leader or select your leader carefully, and I'll speak about that momentarily. This person responsible for the family needs to know during a 24-hour reset status on alert that you may have to call a lockdown if this viral agent becomes a pandemic or it becomes an outbreak and it's deadly in your community. It's your call. Learn the terms and the dangers related to this specific series of critical incidents. That's your job. But the person of this leadership for the unit of the family needs to know the whereabouts during each day and the night of work, school, social, shopping, and otherwise. Somebody needs to be accountable for that. Now, this leader will be accountable for the members' locations away from the residence or wherever your declared safe place is for the members. And if you're not going to be at your residence, we will be, and several others I know will be in their residence on lockdown if it comes to this. And I'm not sitting here shaking thinking, oh God, we're going to have to do it today, tomorrow, next month. It'll happen when it happens, if it happens. But it's my duty to know where every living being is in this house on a 24-hour reset. It's not about control or abuse. It's for their safety and mine as well, because the last thing I need to do is something happen that declares a lockdown. If the government declares a lockdown, I want everybody back home then. You're very vulnerable. You're very vulnerable between where you are and when a lockdown or martial law or they suspend the constitutional rights and enact the presidential orders of PD 51. You don't want to be without a response plan, people. We're beyond arguing will it happen or not. Now, choose your leaders wisely. Do not choose your leader on popularity. Leaders must not be prone to fear-mongering, panic, overreacting, seeking attention, and you sure as hell don't want drama queens or drama kings as your leader. You don't want a bully and a tyrant. There's a time to put your boot up somebody's ass, but if you have to do that constantly and nonstop, either your leadership skills need redefining and adjusting, or the people around you need to get on board with what's happening. And I'm not going to turn this into a leadership video. I'm hitting the highlights. Your leader should be responsible, firm, and practical, and should be able to take this alarming, disturbing, and even possibly deadly information and process it without having that hesitation. And often fear of failure, fear of a mistake can lock people up. Even well-trained experts can lock up at times if they let that fear of failure. What if I don't make it right? Well, too bad. You've got to rise to the occasion or put somebody in charge. If you think you're going to lock up and have doubt, worry, or fear, then don't take the leadership. Nobody is not going to be perfect. It's your mental mindset that empowers you to make the right decisions, putting your family, your unit above you. Their safety comes above you. You can't sit there and dissect every mistake you can make. You can't worry about failure. Failure to act is defeated. Also, your leader is going to have to come to grips that some of the decisions are going to be unpopular. That's too bad. If the infection reaches your community and it is creating casualties, or it's a pandemic, or you've gone into martial law in your FEMA region, it doesn't really matter at that point whether your decisions are popular or not. But the fact that they're alive, they're safe, and you can control your environment is the priority. Most of them will come on board immediately or in due time. Now, know the executive orders in PD 51 so you can understand the concept the feds will use if they pull this off. And you need to know the feds, I'll be speaking about this, the feds are ready to use martial law at this time. But we're going to come into that in a minute. Someone during each day and until you go to sleep should be monitoring news and information each day and make sure they seek factual and truthful information so you can sit down, and if you go to a team concept, that's good too. You will be able to be discussing facts. Now, the feds can close the phone communications, and I recommend you have the talk-to-talk radios with up to 30-mile radius capabilities. It's the effective source for each member of the family to have during this type of global or even North American crisis. If they shut the landlines down to the phones and the cell phones, the talk-to-talk radios are very effective. I recommend getting a weatherproof one and getting one that can go up to 30 miles range. And it will allow you to communicate with every member in your family or unit up to 30 miles. And if you hear something that it has worsened, or if there's going to be a lockdown or quarantine in your community, or if it's broken out and you feel an imminent threat toward your family, then you use that to call them back or update them. Or somebody could call you, let's say if somebody in your family was shopping or something and just checked in and said, have you heard anything? No, it's the same. Nothing has happened, it's not progressed. It's a good way to benefit you having that lifeline of communication if they shut the phones off. And believe me, they can and they will. Now, have you discussed your response plans with the members of your family? And I understand you don't tell, some people can't handle this type of information. It bothers them. Sometimes some children, I'm not recommending you sit down and tell your children everything. That's your call. I'm not a child psychologist. I can't tell you what to do in that regard. These are things that you're going to have to think of while you still have time. If this doesn't go into a deadly pandemic, use this as a model to take your capabilities up to a higher level. Now, what are your plans? Are they realistic? How are the members of your family supposed to return home from school, shopping, or work, or they were visiting or socializing, or they just went to do something, a part of their life and freedom? How are you going to get them back? How do you know when to call them back? That's your call. I know what I'm supposed to do here. And some of my friends, they know what to do in their family domestic situations. It's an individual protocol. Now, are your preparation and resources updated for you to declare a sustainable threat and implement your response? Have you updated your response plans to accommodate a pandemic that could happen? It's my understanding the various flu strains in the United States kill up to 35,000 people per year according to CDC. And in Tennessee, where we reside, up to 700 die from flu, but we're not talking of this type of flu. Your typical run-of-the-mill flu, so to speak, kill up to 700 people where we reside. Now, I mentioned on April 25th, 2009, in the other videos, that if I deem, based on factual evidence, there is an intimate danger to my family, I'm going to declare a lockdown. This decision will not be established on fear or panic or speculation. And if I can manage thousands of personnel and have to deal with the consequence of failure to act at the right time, I know and I'm confident I can manage it on a much lesser scale with my family here. And you can too. This will end part 3.